Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we are gathered here to talk about the best and the worst of Vinegar Syndrome, which is a very timely video because Vinegar Syndrome is hosting their totally rad sale this weekend for Labor Day. Now, I am shooting this in advance of the sale, so I don't know which titles are going to be on sale, how much they're going to be marked down for. I don't know any of that information, so I'm just going to, again, do this like I do all the other videos that I've done so far, and the best and the worst, the Arrow video, the Scream Factory. I'm going to pick out what I consider to be the 5 best Vinegar Syndrome releases, which, to be honest, I went for the very best. I went for the absolute very best. A lot of the titles that I'm going to discuss are titles that you probably heard other people say are the best of Vinegar Syndrome. Not a ton of hidden gems in that category. I went straight in for the very best. And for the very worst, I actually had some trouble, more trouble than I anticipated with Vinegar Syndrome, because they're kind of known for doing bad, schlocky releases that people buy for the packaging, but the movies aren't very good. I've actually enjoyed a lot of the Vinegar Syndrome releases that I have watched in my collection, so it was kind of hard for me to pinpoint the 5 worst, or what I would consider to be the 5 worst. So I based that, again, on a variety of criteria. The movie itself, of course, also the special features. So if it's really lacking in special features, it probably ended up on my list. Look, guys, before I get into it, I like doing these kind of videos. Best, worst videos of a particular boutique label. I will be diving into some studios at some point for sure. But go check out my other 2. I did Arrow video. I also did Scream Factory as well. Also hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and then comment down below, guys. I'm not going to cover everything. I haven't seen everything from Vinegar Syndrome. Let me know what you consider to be their 5 worst, or if you just want to do 3 worst, their 5 best, you're just 3 best, whatever, guys. Let me know what you think the best and the worst of Vinegar Syndrome is in the comments section below. So let's get into it, guys. And like I said, we're going to start with the best. We're going to start with the heavy hitters of Vinegar Syndrome. And they were on a run, guys, and this pretty much takes care of that entire run from 2022 into early 2023, where I just kind of fell in love with Vinegar Syndrome and just got super into them and addicted to their stuff. And it really kind of started in late 2022 with the Amityville Horror on 4K. When they announced this, it knocked my socks off. I think it did for a lot of people as well. This is a legitimately great horror film from the 70s. I would say one of the masterpiece horror films of all time, up there with The Exorcist, The Omen, The Shining. It's that level of horror film. And people weren't used to seeing Vinegar Syndrome release these kind of movies in their catalog. So I thought this was a really awesome release when they announced it, the Amityville Horror. I picked this one up right away. Like I said, classic horror film. Such a great movie. I love this movie. I've loved it for a very long time. I do like the remake as well, which I am getting from Scream Factory pretty soon. But this one's just classic, guys. You got Margot Kidder. You got James Brolin. James Brolin, right? His son is Josh Brolin. But they're great in the movie. It just has a really creepy atmosphere and aesthetic, and it just slowly builds and builds and builds to the ultimate moment at the end, which I think is super awesome. But yeah, if you like movies like The Conjuring, this is where those movies came from, the Amityville Horror. But the transfer by Vinegar Syndrome, because at this point in time, I hadn't checked out a ton of Vinegar Syndrome releases, but so I wasn't used to how great their 4K transfers and restorations were. Just fantastic. Oh my God, this movie is so stunning and beautiful on 4K. Absolutely stunning and beautiful. But the thing also about this release, in addition to the gorgeous artwork right here on the cover, which is insanely awesome, but you have a brand new documentary on here as well, which I believe is called, let's see if I can, My Amityville Diaries, a brand new making of documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew. You have an older archival documentary, For God's Sakes, Get Out. And you also have all the past Scream Factory features as well, because Scream Factory did a collector's edition of the Amityville Horror way back in the day, I think back in 2017. So you got all those special features included on this disc as well. You do get a Blu-ray and a 4K here in this set. And I just think that this is the ultimate Amityville Horror release right here from Vinegar Syndrome. It's such a fantastic release. I could not include the Amityville Horror. Like I said, I'm going with the best, guys. I'm not going for the obscure picks or anything like that. Maybe in volume 2, if I do a second best and worst of Vinegar Syndrome, I'll cover some more of the obscure movies. But I had to go with the best here, like what I consider to be the best as far as the movies, the transfers, just the whole package. And I think that these 5 are the best. Anyway, let's continue, guys. I feel like I have to keep explaining myself because I feel like people are going back. Those are all mainstream picks, kid. Vinegar Syndrome's got way more, movies than that are awesome and hidden gems. And you need to highlight those. I'm highlighting the best, okay? And From Beyond is absolutely one of the best releases that Vinegar Syndrome has ever done. The colors in this movie are insane and super awesome. It looks fantastic on 4K. It's one of the best 4Ks that I saw in 2023. Absolutely fantastic. I love the movie. It is my favorite Stuart Gordon movie. I love Reanimator, but From Beyond I think is just a little bit better. Barbara Crampton in this film is fantastic, looks fantastic in 4K as well. If you know the scene I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But such a great addition that just looks beautiful on 4K. I love the movie. You got a brand new documentary in this featuring Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs giving in-depth interviews about the film. You got all the past Scream Factory special features here as well, so definitely very cool. If you have that Scream Factory Blu-ray, you have no reason to keep it. You can sell it off if you need to, and this is just such a great release. This one sold out very quickly. It sold out very quickly. And Amityville Horror, guys, you can get this one on Amazon, but it is not available on the Vinegar Syndrome website. This one you can also get on Amazon, but you're probably just going to get the case, and you have to actually buy it from an Amazon seller. Amazon's not actually selling this. So this one went extremely fast from the Vinegar Syndrome site because it's such a great movie and people love this movie. So you're going to have a little bit of trouble getting this, especially if you want the slipcover. You might have to pay some top dollar for it, but such a great release. I love this release. I think that 88 Films is actually releasing a 4K of this. I could be wrong, but I know another company overseas is releasing From Beyond on 4K, so maybe look out for that. But this is the definitive release of From Beyond. Such a fantastic release, and I highly recommend it for sure. Now let's get into the next one, guys. Of course, like I said, we're covering the big run that they had from 2022 to 2023. I have to mention this one, and that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Such a cool announcement. Such a cool announcement. And this, unlike the other two I've talked about, is a nice slipcase edition right here. So it comes out of the side like that. You have the classic poster on the actual slipcover right there. Really awesome artwork here. You take it out, and you have the other artwork, the Vinegar Syndrome artwork on the inside as well. This is just like one of the definitive, defining Vinegar Syndrome releases, in my opinion. Another Scream Factory Blu-ray release that came out back in the day. That Blu-ray was way out of print by the time that they announced this, so people were hungry for this release when it was announced. I remember I pre-ordered it within the first 5 minutes. I'm like, that's going to sell out so freaking fast, because that Blu-ray, I think at the time, was like upwards of $150 to $200 on eBay. So people wanted this on a higher format, Blu-ray and 4K, because that Scream Factory had sold out. I guess they lost the rights, and again, Vinegar Syndrome stepped in and picked it up and put this movie out on 4K. This is a gorgeous movie, guys, anyway, and on 4K, it absolutely 100% delivers. I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on 4K. And as far as special features, guys, like this just blows almost every release that there is out there out of the water. You got tons of new interviews for the Vinegar Syndrome release. You got past interviews that were on the Scream Factory release. You got archival special features as well. There's a making of documentary on here that is a little bit older. They included absolutely everything with this release. It's a 3-disc set, and it's just spectacular, guys. One of the best releases that Vinegar Syndrome has ever done and probably will ever do, and I could not leave it off the list. I would love it like in the perfect world, guys, if Vinegar Syndrome got the rights to every Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and did a nice like 4K box set, like that would be freaking awesome. I want Vinegar Syndrome to do all the Texas Chainsaw movies. Next one, guys, and I think that this one is still available on the Vinegar Syndrome website. Whether it has a slipcover or not, I'm not sure, and it's also available on Amazon. But when I think of the perfect 4K transfer or restoration for me, I always think about this movie, and that is Freeway. On 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. I think this is just fantastic. First off, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was super fun, and just so many like really like dark twists and turns that I did not expect for this movie. I felt like it was going to go one way, it went the other way, and I feel like it did that every single time it tried to do a twist or a variation on the story. So I really loved the movie. I thought it was super cool and inventive. Reese Witherspoon gives maybe her best performance I've ever seen her do, and she's been in a ton of great films. I think she's phenomenal in this movie. Kiefer Sutherland's great in this movie, but the movie just looks so freaking fantastic in 4K. It's so incredibly filmic. It has that perfect amount of grain for what the movie is, and that HDR just really enhances those colors in this film. There's just something about that mixture of, you know, kind of heavy grain, but also like super high definition where you can just see everything, and the colors just stand out so incredibly well. There's so many great scenes and sequences, and everything just looks so freaking great. It's hard to describe it, but when I watch this movie on 4K, I'm like, that is what I want these classic film restorations to look on 4K. Same way I feel like when I watch Django on 4K from Arrow Video. Like, that's how Freeway makes me feel. Such a fantastic 4K restoration for sure. And it's one that you definitely should have in your collection. Tons of great special features on here as well. I think there is also, I don't know if there's a making of documentary here, but maybe an archival one. But there's tons of new interviews here that are just fantastic. So this is a really top tier release from Vinegar Syndrome that I would highly recommend. And lastly, guys, look, we're talking the best here of Vinegar Syndrome. In my opinion, this may be, it was my favorite 4K release of 2022. I put it as my number one. This may be the best thing that Vinegar Syndrome has ever done. It may be the most mainstream thing as well that Vinegar Syndrome has ever done. But Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze, this is the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle of physical media right here, is Roadhouse on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. Such a fantastic release. The restoration on this blew me away. It completely blew me away. It looked so incredibly fantastic. I love the movie. I'd never seen the movie before. I didn't grow up with the movie. First time watching it on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome blew me away. I love the movie. I love my experience watching the movie. I love Sam Elliott in the movie. Just the chemistry between him and Patrick Swayze. The entire story was fantastic, and I loved everything about it. And the chemistry that he had with the actress in the film, which I can't remember her name, is awesome as well. But Patrick Swayze is so badass. I miss him so much. He is so missed, I feel like, in the movie industry. Like, he could have went on to do so many more. He had so many more great performances in him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's such a shame that we lost him so soon. But I love him in this movie. I think this is probably his best movie, his best performance. And this is just it's the most Swayze movie of all his movies. Like, when you think of Patrick Swayze, you think of Dalton from Roadhouse, for sure. The remake that was on Amazon is horrible. It's an abomination, and I wish it didn't exist, but it does exist, and I'll never own that in my collection, even if they do a VSU of it. But Roadhouse from Vinegar Syndrome, the 4K is immaculate. It's so very filmic, but also that HDR with the actual bar in it. The Double Deuce, sorry guys, I forgot the name, is fantastic. The colors are great. They all stand out with the HDR, the Dolby Vision. Everything looks so fantastic. There's tons of new features on here. This was also a release. I think every single release I talked about had a Scream or Shout Factor release. Shout Factor did it back in the day. So all the features from the Shout release are on here, plus all of the additional features. So many great stuff with this. And this is a VSU edition, which you're not going to be able to still get now. But like I said, you can get, I think, a dumbed down, just regular bare bones 4K case version. That's going to have all the same stuff, guys. All the same features. You're just not going to open up a nice case like this and see, you know, the cool artwork, and you know, you're not going to have that cool slipcover with the original poster and the little booklet that they have inside. But everything else is going to be on the discs. It's going to have all the same materials, so you don't have to worry about missing out on that. But what a fantastic release by Vinegar Syndrome. This, to me, like I said, is the pinnacle of physical media and of Vinegar Syndrome as well. It's such a fantastic addition. Now, we talked about the best. Let's talk about some of the worst. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the worst because I don't really have a ton to say about these movies. We have The Last Gasp right here, or Last Gasp, though. This is one that's kind of notoriously in every Vinegar Syndrome sale. Like, they cannot get rid of this. Like, they mark it down to like $7.50, $8, $10 multiple times. Nobody wants The Last Gasp. Like, this is one that when they do their daily deals, like during the sale, they never switch this one out. They keep it like an everyday. They keep it every day for the daily deals. Like, they are trying to get rid of this movie. So I did watch it to see if it was that bad. It's not like the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It's got Patrick God, why am I Robert Patrick? Robert Patrick's in this movie, which gives it an automatic like 2 or 3 stars, right? Because Robert Patrick's awesome. The T-1000, he's great. But the story is just, it's kind of lame. It's kind of tame. It's kind of, I mean, the premise is cool. You know, the idea of this guy, this real estate tycoon that massacres this tribe, and then the leader of the tribe comes back to inhabit him. It's a cool premise, but it really doesn't go anywhere interesting. The movie just kind of mediocre and so tame and just really doesn't do anything. And it's really incredibly boring. So I don't recommend The Last Gasp. They try to give it away. Maybe if you really want it, if you're a completionist, you want all the Vinegar Syndromes, maybe you wait till they mark it down to $5 because that's probably where it's going. But as far as like special features too, it's incredibly lackluster. There's extensive outtakes, and that's pretty much it. So there's really not a lot to this release right here. It's probably why they mark it down so much. But The Last Gasp has to be one of the worst releases they've ever done, and kind of a joke within people that follow Vinegar Syndrome because it's in every single sale, and it's obvious they're just trying to give it away. This one I was kind of on the VSL hype train at the beginning. I was going to try to collect all of those, but after I watched The Cat Creeps, I don't know. This is an okay, I guess, kind of old school like murder mystery type deal, and it's an older like Universal movie from back in the day. It's okay, but to be honest, like I was just bored to tears watching this, and it's only an hour long, and I remember it taking me forever to get through it. I kept pausing it. I just kept becoming uninterested. I had to rewind it to make sure I could follow it. And this one just did not grab me at all. The special features, you know, there's really not a lot here as far as special features. There's a new commentary track. I think there's a visual essay or something like that. But this is just not a great release from Vinegar Syndrome, and one that I do remember. The artwork's fantastic though. I love the artwork. But this is one that I remember just kind of disappointed me. So I don't recommend that one. This one, everybody hypes up the Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard. I hated this. I thought it was so incredibly stupid and boring, and the kills were so lame. I was like, why do people like this could have been great. Like this could have been great. And I don't think that it's Clint Howard's fault. I think that he embodies the idea of what the Ice Cream Man could be if it was actually a good script and actually had a competent filmmaker. It was actually a good movie. I think that in a good movie with the same premise, Clint Howard could really shine. But in this movie, I don't know. I just thought that this was incredibly lame and tame, and I did not like this one. Now, there are some special features here. There's a commentary track. There's Monster Vision Summer School Edition with Joe Bob Briggs and Clint Howard. There's new interviews with Clint Howard. So there's good features on here. Like if you like, this movie, if you've seen it in the past, it's a video store rental favorite, I think, from back in the day. But I just couldn't wrap my mind around like why people actually enjoy this movie when I was watching it, because I didn't enjoy it at all. I thought it was pretty damn lame. And like I said, it could have been great. Like they could have done something really great with that premise, but I don't think they did it with this movie. And it reeks of just 90s, like I said, straight to video store, like awfulness. Like I remember getting some of these movies back in the day and thinking like, oh my God, this is just so bad. And I never re-rented those. So Ice Cream Man, to me is not good, but I know a lot of people like this movie. So I had to throw this one in there, as well. This one I watched recently, Buried Alive. I did not like this. I thought it was super, super boring. It's got a good cast. It's got a decent cast in it. I think this is it's based on an Edgar Allan Poe poem. So material. It's based on Edgar Allan Poe material is what I'm trying to say. But it's got, who the hell was in this movie? I just forgot about this movie like the second I got done watching it. Oh, Donald Pleasance is in this movie. It's got Nia Long in this film for like 2 seconds. She's in this movie. So, I mean, it's okay. It's okay, but honestly, like, I don't know. I would never watch this again. The premise was kind of stupid. The directions it went in was kind of stupid, and I just didn't enjoy it. Buried Alive, I don't have much to say about it, guys. Like I said, I forgot about the movie the second I was done with it. It just did not stay with me on any level. So Buried Alive, I did not really enjoy. And this last one came out last year. I was excited for this when it was announced because it's a kids' adventure movie from the 80s that I had never seen. And I was like, you know what? This one might actually be pretty fun. I might get some retroactive like nostalgia for it. Just watching it now and remembering movies like that I watched when I was a kid. But this one, I don't know, it was okay, but I just didn't really enjoy it or really gravitate towards it in any way. And that is Daryl, or Daryl. And this is a VSU edition, so a really nice deluxe package edition right here with some incredible artwork and great stuff on the inside. I know people were excited about this. I think it was a first time to Blu-ray and 4K. I think it only had a DVD release. Really cool artwork on the cover. I think that's just maybe the original poster right there, but you got some cool stuff on the back as well. I don't know. I thought the movie was okay. I also thought the transfer, was okay. Like it was good. And like I said, if you love this movie and you only had it on DVD, like the 4K is going to look fantastic to you because you hadn't seen it in any kind of high definition format. But to me, I don't know. I just didn't love it. And there's only one special feature on here. Yes, it's a documentary. It's 50 minutes long, but that's all they included here with this. And I don't think there was a lot of archival stuff to go back to as well. So this really kind of felt a little bit more bare bones than some of the other great VSU editions that Vinegar Syndrome had put out over the years. So again, I had to find something to put in the worst. I don't think this is literally the worst thing that Vinegar Syndrome has ever done, but as far as the VSU editions, it's my least favorite of the ones that I have watched. But there you have it, guys. That is the best and the worst of Vinegar Syndrome. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you can, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button too if you haven't already. We talk about physical media on this channel all the time. So if you like that kind of stuff, hit that subscribe button. Also, turn on bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.